Hello folks, this is a simple tutorial on how to create a virtual machine in GCP. The first thing you do is you need to select the project in which you want to create one. So I will just click on one particular project and then you get a screen like this. So you just click on create. You need to give an appropriate name for your virtual machine. So I'll just give this as my first VM. You can add a label. This is just to identify your particular virtual machine. The other important thing you should remember is the particular region in which you want your virtual machine to reside in. So I will choose this particular region and this particular zone within that particular region. So let's just choose A. So you have three options. You have general, compute, and memory. You should also realize that these three options are not available for all the zones. So if I were to go to, let's say, uh, Mumbai, then you just have memory and general. So you have to be very careful while selecting your region, and you have to make sure that that particular virtual machine configuration is available. So let me go back to US Central one. So you have three options. You have general, you have compute, and you have memory optimized. If you choose general, you have certain advantages like you can choose the configuration that you like by selecting custom. So you can actually choose the number of cores that you wish to have and the memory that you wish to have as well. So this is highly configurable, and if you have an exact specific need for a particular virtual machine with a particular set of configuration, then this would be the best choice. This is not available for compute and memory, so this is something very specific to general purpose. The other thing is you have two generations of general purpose configuration. So if you choose N1, then you have the option of selecting GPUs as well. This is not available for the second generation as of now. So if you choose the second generation, this thing is disabled. So let me just choose the bare minimum configuration. I will just choose N1 and I'll just choose F1 micro. Let's go down. The other important thing that you can have in your virtual machine is something called as a confidential VM service. So what this does is if you have this enabled, then even the data that is in your memory that is being processed will also be encrypted. So that adds a extra layer of security. So you can always choose this. So there's no extra code that you need to implement in your application. So you just need to click on this. Then any data that is being processed in memory will also be encrypted. If you choose the container, then your virtual machine will also have a Docker enabled within it, installed within it. Then you can choose the boot size that you wish for your particular virtual machine. So this can be configured as well. So you can choose the operating system that you like, as well as the space that you like in your boot disk. So I'll just choose the default of 10 GB and the operating system as Debian. Then let's go down. The other thing is the service account is this is an important parameter that you need to consider. So this service account, you have two kinds of service accounts. The one which is there is the default. So the default service account is created by Google itself, and the other one is the user created service account. So that is something that you need to create in IAM, sorry. The default service account has three flavors. So if you choose any one of these, the amount of access that your virtual machine will have to the different GCP services will be restricted. So if you just click on allow default service, what will happen is that your VM will only have read-only access to the other services that reside within GCP. If you give full access, then your VM will have complete access over all the resources within GCP. And if you choose this, then you have an option of selecting which all services within GCP you want your virtual machine to have access. So let's just choose the default one for the time being. The firewall is another aspect that is also quite important. So if you choose these, then you will be able to have outside servers with an HTTP request be able to call your particular virtual machine. So it's basically useful if you're trying to create a web server and you want outside traffic to hit your particular virtual machine. So if you were to do that, then you would want these to be enabled. So let's go to management. In management, you have quite a few options as well. So if you click on this, then your virtual machine cannot be deleted unless somebody disables this check flag once your virtual machine has been created. So if this is checked, then it's not possible for anybody to delete that particular virtual machine. So if it has to be deleted, then somebody has to go edit the property and disable this and then be able to delete it. The other important thing is the startup script. So if you want to have any startup script run while your virtual machine is being called or created for the first time, then you would want to have those scripts written in this particular box. So let's say you want to have an Apache or a third-party tool installed when your virtual machine boots up, then you would write all those scripts within this particular box. Metadata is another important aspect that I will talk about later. So metadata is basically uh, it is basically a key value store that can store critical information that you would want to access later on. So you can actually have a metadata key pair that can be accessed by the startup script as well. So it's quite a useful tool to have. It's basically at the end of the day just a key value pair. The other important things that you would want to consider is the preemptability. So if you set this as on, then your virtual machine will cost less, but the drawback is that your virtual machine will not last for more than 24 hours and it can be terminated sooner based on the system demands. So basically, if you have a job which is not critical or can be terminated anytime and it wouldn't affect the overall functionality of an application, then you would want to use this. Ideally, this is used. So if you go to the second tab, it gives you a few options to make your virtual machine more secure. So I will give a brief overview of shielded VM in a later lecture. You also have the option of setting your SSH keys for this particular instance over here. So this can be used to log into your virtual machine using your own SSH key. You can click on disk. So if you click on this, then you can see that your disk can be encrypted in three ways. You can either have Google encrypted, so this would require no configuration from your end, or you can have a customer managed key. So this will be done via your Google KMS, Google Cloud KMS, or the third option is to completely manage the keys yourself. Uh, the recommended one would be the Google managed key because you wouldn't have to do any external configuration. So the network tab is where you can actually choose your host name you can uh, the default would be either this, or you can actually choose your own particular host name, but it is permanent and it cannot be changed. Networking and the sole tenancy is something that we will discuss later. So once you've set everything up, you can just click on create and it will create an instance for you. So this might take a few minutes to come up. Yeah. So once you have your virtual machine created, then you will see that it has an external IP as well as an internal IP. And if you wish to connect to your external IP, the easiest way to, I'm sorry, if you wish to connect to your virtual machine, the easiest way is to just click on this and it'll open a new pop-up and it'll automatically connect to that particular virtual machine.